Hi, moms. Hey, I want to talk to you today about a very, very important subject that's also time sensitive. This is in regards to the Parental Choice Tax Credits that Idaho is offering. Now, there's been a lot of information out here, a lot of controversy over the last year, and my position is not to argue for or against. I want to give you information, however, because for some of you, this is going to serve you very well. For others, it's not going to serve you so well. But it's really hard to figure out what the program actually is. But I want you to have as much information as I can give you, as simplified as possible, from mom to mom, home educator to home educator, so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. So let's start with this. We've got some deadlines that are really tricky. The tax credit is provided up to $5,000 per child and $7,500 per child with disabilities. So, and there's guidelines for you to follow to know which ones fall under which category. But in general, if you make, now this is going to be a weird term, okay? The federal poverty level, if you make 300% more, so 3 times whatever the federal poverty level is, for the number of people in your family, is what you qualify for. And it's not your gross income that you bring in, it is your adjusted household taxable income. And I'm going to tell you how you find all these numbers. In fact, I'm going to provide you a cheat sheet that has the actual numbers. So you can just look up how many are in your family, what the number is, what that top cap is, and then you just check your tax forms to see if you qualify. Now, you would be surprised. I would assume that most of you who are watching this, especially if you have compromised, and I don't want to say compromise, but you've made the amazing choice as a mom to set down your income potential. And we're brilliant, and we've chosen to raise our children with all of our brilliance. And so, we don't get paid for that, and we take a sacrifice. So I think in that regard, this is just an amazing program. Now, the caveats of this is that these are credits that come back to you. My understanding of it is even if you have not filed an Idaho income tax before, because you've been underneath the eligibility line, we're going to go back, we're going to retro file you, we're going to get you something that's called a TAP number. And all of this is pretty easy. It doesn't take very long at all, but we have to do it because they're opening this up on January 15th, and it is first come, first serve. Every person in Idaho, every family that believes that this is the right program for them is going to be filing as quickly as possible. So especially for the families that I'm working with or that I know, or anyone that's out there that hears of our programs, that this sounds like a good fit for you, we want to get you in there, which means today I'm giving you homework right now. And don't worry if you don't hit all these deadlines, because we're still going to get it in. They will be accepting applications from January 15th to March 15th. We want ours sitting at the doorstep on January 15th. The minute they open that up, we're going to click the button and send it in. So again, that means you need to high prioritize this so everything is in order. Now, there are 2 different programs that are available to you. They're not the same, but they're under the same umbrella. So the first one is an advance payment. So especially for like students in our school, you're going to take all of the credits and things that you had for 2025 for this last fall, everything that is a eligible expense. So your tuition, for example, not all tuition is eligible. And I'm going to explain that. And I'm going to explain how our school has been set up to address this. So you're going to love it. It really is a good option for many of you. So you're going to save all of your receipts for 2025 for the fall and into 2026. And if you're eligible, they are going to cut you an advance projected expense check. All right, and we can figure this out real easy in our school. Some of you might be able to figure it out real easy. Ours is super easy because everything is just underneath our tuition invoice. And so let's talk about, let me finish that thought for a minute. There's so much information. I'm trying to think of how do I share this in the easiest way so it makes sense to you. So the advanced payment is going to go back retroactive, and it's going to give you a check in advance to help pay for the expenses you just had for fall. And my understanding then is into this next year, because where it really is applied is when you do your taxes for 2026. And then from then on, you're in that system, and then it is the tax credit. All right. Now, one of the questions is this a voucher? Well, without getting into too technical, in some ways, it's better than a voucher. A voucher would go to me as the school administrator. It would go straight to me. It's a voucher for your child's education. This doesn't go to the education department, school, to the service provider. This goes directly to you as the parent. This is between you and your U.S. government tax commission. So that puts you in complete control. And that's why you, as the parent, need to understand what's eligible, what's not, what kind of hassle you want. And not everybody is compliant with this as far as a school. So let's now go back. So that's program number 1. Program number 2 is that once you are in the system, you receive high priority. Every year you'll apply for it again, just like that. But those who are already in the system, you get highest priority. So that's why this year, this January 15th, it is absolutely vital that you hit that button on the application, and we start working on this right now today. And I'm going to send out as much information on this as I possibly can so that you truly have a school choice and you don't get boxed out of this. Okay, so that's going to give you the $5,000 a year. You're in the system. The first one, it's the advance payment, is going to make it retroactive. So whatever you're doing, you can afford to do it. Now, why is that important? That is because if you choose to go to a private Christian school or some kind of a private education center, you're going to be paying tuition. You might not be able to afford that tuition. The advance payment is going to allow you to start on the education plan you want without that bias of not being able to afford it right up front. Now, isn't that a wonderful thing that they put in? Okay, so that's kind of the structure of the program. Now, what does it cover and what doesn't it cover? And these are where the caveats come in. Now, moms, you have to understand, your legislators, and this is one of the best ones I've ever seen. And I worked, my husband's family homesteaded here, but I grew up in Washington. And even though we've been here for 40 years, basically, Washington, I was in those initial programs, and they have rotten programs. And there's so much control that's involved. Your legislators in Idaho did everything that they could to help you escape the public education system, give you as much control as possible, but there's also abuse within the system. And they want to make sure that Idaho's children are well educated. Now, we know that parents do a great job. Sometimes we get a little confused on structure, which programs are the best programs. So the way that Idaho addressed this, your legislators, in order for it to go through and make sense, is that they didn't want you to have to do the annual testing where your children, many of you are very opposed to that. In our school, we like it as an option, not to report to the government, but just to know if our children have a gap anywhere. Because if we identify a gap, then we might be able to identify dyslexia or some different games and toys that we can come in to backfill that gap as quickly as possible before any learning development patterns start to cement, if that makes sense. So it's optional, but we highly encourage it so you know where to beef up. That's really what it's for, is how to help and design your learning plans. All right, and we also know, all of us who are educators and moms, is that some of our children really excel in some subjects and hate others. And so in our school anyway, we teach you how to use the things that they love the most to come back around and be able to inspire the learning of the things that they don't like as much. But man, when you start bringing in neural education, it's a whole different way of teaching our children, and it all becomes fun. Even the subjects we're not great in, we can master. All right, enough about that. So going back to how they have structured this, in order to have an eligible program, if you are going to a non-public school, which is what ours would be considered, a Christian hybrid pod school, okay, if you go to one, you must receive the 4 core from that institution. So that means your language arts, which is your spelling, your grammar, all those kinds of things, at least a base of it, science, social studies, and your language arts, your English language arts. All 4 of them must be provided as a core from whatever program you go to. Our school does that. Now, what it does not cover is it doesn't cover if you buy your English curriculum from that provider, your math from that provider. Are you hearing this? They're not going to do your curriculum a la carte. That's not how this is functioning. They want you to have a single source. Now, you can buy your curriculum, all 4 of those, from a single source, and that will count, just not a la carte. And you can attend an institute that's teaching all 4 of those as part of their core educational program. That counts. You cannot, and here's the caveats, and that's why I said, for some of you, this is a dream come true, and for others of you, it's just not gonna fit. And that's okay, because it's education parental choice for what works best for you. So let's say that you are going to a pod, but it doesn't include all those. Or you as a mom, you are teaching 3 of the subjects, but you don't want to touch math, so you send your child out for a math program. It's not covered. It's not like Empowering Parents, and it's different than like the home ed or the Braintree, in that those discretionary funds that they provide for you to enhance your education, those are specifically for enrichment, sports, going, membership to the YMCA, your music lessons. And if you like those programs, if what you're getting works, and then you like having that $2,000 or wherever their limit is for this particular year, if you like having those discretionary funds, then that's going to remain the best program for you. Where our school comes in is we've got all 4 of those. But in addition, because it is a school, a hybrid school, we've taken our enrichment classes, and that's like part 2 of the school. So for our parents, those enrichment classes are embedded within our tuition. So all of the enrichment classes, as part of an actual hybrid school, are included. So your choirs, our radio classes, our production classes, the arts, all of those extra things that are there, you get to take those as electives as part of the school. Now, let me help you out on this. So if you're doing this with a school that doesn't also have those, your funds only go to the school that, like if you're in a pod and you're just doing the 4, it only goes for the pod classes, no additional enrichment classes. Those are all out of your pocket. So you'll be paying for your core and then enrichment, sports, additional fun. In our school, you get them all together. In the Idaho, in the Braintree, any of the public school, homeschool type programs, you get a stipend for them. So they provide the education. You are not eligible for the tax credit. And that's okay, because they're paying for your course and they're giving you additional money. So you see where different families, different programs are going to fit. They designed it that way. They weren't trying to get everybody in this program. They were trying to help those who don't quite fit the other programs. Isn't that amazing? School choice. It's school choice. So let's go back to how it works within our school, for example. So we have a morning where we have all of the cores, and that is tuition-based option 1. Now, starting this next year, you're going to be able to go extend that into the afternoon. So now you're going to have all your cores and all of your enrichment all underneath tuition, and that is tuition package number 2. All eligible because it's all under our school tuition, and as a school, we are eligible providing those 4 core. See? Sounds great. So you don't need to have the extra money. You'll want that for specific interests, but many of them we're going to be able to match for you. All right, so that's beautiful. Now we have a third option that you'll be able to tie into. The third option is all of our traditional classes that are out at the homestead. So that's going to be school tuition phase, or option 1, 2, or 3, which includes just the cores plus the arts and enrichment, plus the traditional homestead stuff. All of that is covered underneath the parent choice. Beautiful. You don't have to do anything. You just get your invoice, and that's what you claim at the end of the year. Now, for our current parents, one of the things that this will change is that we as a school, we do pull our curriculum a la carte. We get to do that. And you still get the benefit of it because you're going to be receiving those through us, through your supply fee. So it's just your supplies, but it's all coming from us as the provider of the entire program. Hope that made sense. Okay, so how can we as a school help those of you who are already in the Braintree and the Ed 360 and all of the other programs? Okay, remember, we're after choice. Not every choice is the right choice for a family. Some of you really love going to those, and we have students in our school. I'm back. I know it's going to show a break in this. I had to go be a mom. Okay, so back to those who are in public school programs already, and this is working for you. So you have your discretionary funds. Well, the way that our school is set up is that if you are a student, it counts under tuition. But if you are in one of these other programs, you can purchase the enrichment classes a la carte. And we're going to charge you for those as individual classes. It's just under a different format. So you don't have to be a student to take the enrichment portion, enrichment class portion of the school. So you can still come on over, take all the arts, the theater, the music, and you can still take all of the traditional classes as if you were part of the school, but you're going to do it a la carte, one class at a time, a specific course amount. Do you understand the difference? So those who are our school students, those who are under the tuition options of 1, 2, and 3, core plus arts and enrichment, and core plus arts plus the traditional classes, or any combination of those, as long as we've got the core as the base, you're going to be great under the tax credit. All of those count. We're kind of like your one-stop shop. And you can still do additional things that are at home. You can use your discretionary funds, whatever you have, to be able to support those. Those who love being part of the public school system and it's working for you to go through that particular program, your discretionary funds can also pay for our enrichment and homestead traditional classes out here at the farm. So that's pretty cool. Everybody is covered. Now, why you might not want to stay with the traditional public school options that they currently have and come on over is that some of you are doing that so you can get your discretionary funds, but you don't like some of the rigidity of being in the public education system. You don't want to test. You find that your child is sitting in front of the computer too much. All of those are very legit. And that's really why your legislators made this, is that there are plenty of students to go into those programs. They're serving a particular population, just like public school still serves 90% of the students, 90+% of the students that are in Idaho. It works for them. The online home option works for some of you. But now with this third option, you might find that having some in-class time together with the built-in enrichment and all that gives you the best of both worlds. Now, this tuition also will cover some of the Christian schools that are in the area. And that, again, opens up an option for those of you who haven't wanted to be in public school, you're not ready to fully homeschool or homeschool at all. Let's face it, some of you are in a position that that's just not going to work for you. But the tuition will go for those Christian schools where they're drop-off programs and you have this awesome alternative. So you are not in the public school program whatsoever by the parental tax credit. And they really did try to do their very, very best to protect your homeschooling rights in the design of this program. And I love that. Being from a family who was an original homesteader out in the area before the towns even had names. My husband's family knew some of those families who went to prison for homeschooling. Homeschooling had such a bad name. Those who have homeschooled have fought very hard for the rights that we get to enjoy. There were prices, extreme prices that were paid for the right to educate our own children and pull them from the system. And now it's like we've got the best of all worlds because there's so many different programs. So that's kind of the bottom line of this. And I'm very excited for those who would find our program as that perfect, beautiful blend. So you've got a half a day, a full day, and the option of the second day that's coming up for this next year. We're getting the homestead already, so it's just, we're in construction. So the cool thing is that there's a lot of things we can do out here, but right now we're really in construction. So all that is coming though, and we're taking enrollment. All right, now let's see. Questions. Yeah, there's probably a million more for you. But what I want you to do is I want you to click in below. You don't even have, in fact, I don't want your email address. If you don't want to get information from the homestead, I don't want to end up in your spam folder because it makes it for those who want it. I can't get it to them because I get seen as a spammer, and I'm not a spammer. I only want to give those who want the information or who want to be kept in the loop or those who want to do the workshops. We fit all of your different needs in different ways. So if you want to know what's going on, if you want to know the latest class or the latest one-day workshop you can jump into, then I want you to sign up for the newsletter. But this is just so you can get a download. I didn't know the best way to be able to do this. This is so that you can get the download that is, it has all those numbers on there for your eligibility. So you don't have to calculate it all out. And it has the next steps that you need to take. And I'm going to put on this your, the Idaho website that addresses all of these additional questions. And what I hope you'll do is call me. Call me. Let me explain it the best I can. Let me personally answer your questions. As you can tell, we've designed an awesome school, but like I said, it is the right fit for the right fit. And I want you to find the best program that fits you and your family. And I might still be able to assist you in that, especially with all the enrichment programs. You can have the best of both worlds if that is the best of both worlds for you. Otherwise, we got you covered. So my name is Deanna. Our school is Championeers Academy, and but we branch off into those three areas with the homeschool homestead. That's all the traditional classes. And then I was the owner of the largest performing arts conservatory school outside of the Seattle area while we were there. We had thousands of kids going in and out all across the state, and we served multiple states. And anyway, we've got some awesome enrichment programs, radio station that reaches families in 80 nations around the world. So, and we are the forerunners of something called Brain Armor. And we're working on programs that go back into the public schools for helping with the neural ed and developing campus culture. So you might be seeing this and you are a public education student. Still call me because I've got programs that you can get and sponsor in your class alone. And we've based them on the civics, the new civics requirement. That's one of them. And we'll give that to you to be able to bring that into your homeschool experience or into your classroom experience. That's our gift to you. And so give me a call or put your email in there, but let's get you the information you need so that this next year you are fully aware of your choices, how they work, and which one is going to be the best one for you and your kiddos. All right, until the next one, and there is a next one. There are some other programs. There is a college savings account program that Idaho has for you. And let's see, I've got it somewhere. It's called Idaho Ideal 529. I'm gonna show you how you can take your funds that you're putting in there that are pre-taxed, and there's no penalty for pulling any of that out. You can use those funds to pay for your tuition and then reimburse the funds back into that account and put it back in there for your kiddos. So, there's a lot of nuances. This is going to be a program that shifts and changes. I can only give you the best of my understanding because even those who are creating it don't have clear answers on everything. But there's another one that's exciting in this. All of your transportation back and forth to the school, you're now going to be able to be reimbursed for. So that's a pretty big deal when you're a parent and you're trying to get your kids back and forth. And what do you do when half of the kids are sick, but you still have to get your children to school? All kinds of ideas for you. All right, until the next video, give me a call. We'll talk with you soon.